Hi Leo, welcome to Carol's Universe, Tarot Readings from the Heart. Hope you guys are well and keeping safe. So we're going to do the week ahead reading, the 30th of March through to the through to the 4th of April 2020. And you know, with world events kind of escalating the way that they have, I just wanted to do a reading which just a simple 10 card reading from the This Might Hurt tarot deck. No pun intended, it's a beautiful deck and I really like using it just to kind of look at, you know, gives a few words of wisdom, that type of thing through spirit. So I just really wanted to see what spirit had to say to you this week through the cards in light of this situation. As mentioned, for the reading we use of This Might Hurt tarot deck by Isabella Rotman, and for your spiritual advice, 2 cards or even more possibly from the Psychic Tarot of the Heart Oracle deck by John Holland. And finally, if we need a clarifier, I'm using my Thelema tarot, but I actually cut this one down, trimmed it and edged it, which I really love. It's a beautiful looking deck. I really love this deck. So we're going to use this one for clarifiers if we need to. Okay, let's start shuffling. Okay guys, let's have a look, Leo. Pardon me while I drink my coffee as well. I've just made a coffee, so pardon me while I have a little sup on that. So what's the message for this week, Leo? Right, the Knight of Swords. So the Knight of Swords is an interesting card. Knights usually mean movement. So the Knight of Swords tends to move very fast. The Knights also mean messengers as well. So this could be like an unexpected message arriving. In terms of movement, it's like a sudden change type of thing with a Knight of Swords, or something suddenly that arrives or suddenly happens. It can be a card about an arrival. The 2 of Wands energy. And you'll notice that it's funny because, you know, this is a slow card, this is a fast one, but also this can be somebody from abroad. So maybe somebody for some of you guys is arriving, but then, you know, we don't have people coming in and out of the countries now. So this isn't about somebody who's arriving from abroad. I think that this is more about the messages that you need to start kind of picking up the pace, because some of you guys have been planning something for a while with that 2 of Wands, and I think that this may be the week with that Knight of Swords to start picking up the pace, to start moving ahead with the Knight of Swords energy on plans that have been kind of, and you know, with the 2 of Wands is a very interesting card because it means so many things, but one of the meanings of the 2 of Wands as well is stagnancy. You know, you can see that her car is parked and all she's doing is just kind of sitting on the car and she's looking at a road map and she's saying, right, where to next? So she's kind of planning her route. She's planning her trip. But she may have been doing that for a very long time. So I just feel that for certain plans that have been parked, Leo, this week is a good week to start moving ahead with those things. With the Knight of Swords energy, yeah, and making it happen. You need to start initiating these things because the Magician is an initiator, and you know, you've got 2 very fast moving cards amidst a card that doesn't move. You know, you can make all the plans you want with the 2 of Wands, but really for me, with the 2 of Wands, you need a card that kind of shows that something is moving alongside this card here. So I think this week is a week for focusing on moving ahead with certain plans here. And, you know, taking the initiative with the Magician to kind of start the ball rolling and making things happen. Now, we know that there are certain limitations that have been imposed on us in terms of doing this, because for some of you guys, you may have been planning certain things before this pandemic arrived, before it kind of really had everybody on lockdown. Some of you guys were in the process of planning certain things. And so for some of you, you may be, well, Carol, I can't do that because, you know, it's not possible right now. The plans that I was making, I've had to put them on hold because there's no way to kind of get them out there because, you know, the movement is limited. Well, these cards are saying, well, you're not limited. You know, just think about not a different way of doing it, or think about kind of if there's a certain if there's a certain part of the plan that cannot be initiated right now. Well, what is a part of the plan that can? What is another part that can? Do you see where I'm coming from? So, say for example, you before all of this happened, Leo, that the plan was to, I don't know, that the plan was to start selling goods. You know, to start, you know, to set up a shop, for example, in a. Say the plan was to set up a stall or to set up a shop in a market or something like that, and you can't do that obviously now. Well, what about looking at doing something online? What about kind of doing something creative, doing something online, like setting up the website arm of things, or getting the Facebook shop set up, or an Etsy shop set up? There's all sorts of ways around this, and really you just need to use your initiative on how you can do it. The Magician energy showing there. The Ten of Cups energy. So there's fulfillment here with the Ten of Cups energy. The Six of Cups, fulfillment, fulfilling relationships. So I think there's two things, because we can see that the Magician is the central card here. And surrounding the Magician, we've got the Knight of Swords and the Two of Wands. And then we've got the Ten of Cups and the Six of Cups. So the Ten of Cups talks about fulfillment in personal relationships here. All right. I feel that you have the ability to start kind of creating fulfillment in relationships. So creating with that Magician a fulfilling partnership or relationship. And now the Six of Cups and the Ten of Cups, they're all about the family. They're all about the family, all right? This is about your siblings and your nearest and your dearest. This is about contentment within the family, okay? And you have the potential, you have the, and you know, you've got all the resources you need to start kind of creating fulfillment and happiness and joy with your nearest and dearest. So some of you guys, the focus with these three cards, with the Magician kind of connecting to that Ten of Cups and Six of Cups, because the Magician is ruled by Mercury as well. So it's a card about technology, for example. It's a card about the internet. It's a card about, you know, messenger. And okay, so it's twofold. Here, the Magician, as I mentioned, stands between these two and these two. So plans that have been parked, because really the Two of Wands says we have the intention to do something, Leo, but whether you do it is another thing. So there's always an intention with the Two of Wands. So plans that have been parked, now is the time to start moving ahead with those things. Use your initiative. If the plans that you've had to park, so the things that you've had to put on hold, whether it's, I mean, it doesn't even have to be with the Two of Wands that this has been like a, you know, like a year-long thing or anything. I mean, we've had this thing come in, this terrible affliction on the world coming in the last few weeks. So these plans that you've had, probably some of you guys were trying to get something up and running and now you can't do it. So it's saying you can still move ahead with them, but with the Magician talking about the use of initiative and resourcefulness, because you've got the initiative of the Ace of Swords, the resourcefulness of the Ace of Coins, the ideas of the Ace of Wands energy, and the creativity, you know, and the creativity of the Ace of Cups. So you need to use all of those things in order to do this. So you can be resourceful. It doesn't mean that because, you know, you can't do something in one way that you can't do it in another, basically with those three cards. The other thing that the universe wants to say to you this week is, you know, with the Magician energy, use technology to, you know, to get closer to family with the Ten of Cups and the Six of Cups energy. Okay, use technology, because the Magician is technology as well. So this is using the internet, you know, your messenger, your Facebook, your Instagram, you know, all of those things. That you've got it all at your fingertips, Leo. Use all of that stuff there to connect with family as well. What other message do we have? The Six of Wands energy. So the Six of Wands is all about victory and success, support, recognition with the Six of Wands energy showing there. The Judgment card showing here. So, Judgment is all about transformation. And usually it's spiritual transformation, because we're going from one phase into another. Okay. I'm seeing a successful, perhaps, transformation here with the Judgment energy. Eight of Swords of this energy here. So this week, you need to focus on, I think, how you can successfully, with the Six of Wands, and through the support of others as well, because you have the support of others on the card. So how can you successfully transform through the Judgment energy, this energy of the Eight of Swords? So the Eight of Swords would say, I'm frustrated, I'm feeling locked down, I'm feeling frustrated, I'm feeling anxious. How can you focus on how you can successfully transform this energy here through the support of others, because you have the support of others on the Six of Wands. There you go, the Ace of Wands, taking your power back. How do you successfully transform this very kind of negative, mental negative energy here with the Ace of Wands energy, sorry, with the Eight of Swords energy, in order to take your power back with the Ace of Wands? Because it's, what it is that this time that we're going through is it's and I've said it on other readings as well for the other sides, it's the one thing that we recognise, I think, as a race, more than anything, Leo, is our lack of freedom, basically. And if you look here, she's got no freedom. There's a powerlessness that comes with the Eight of Swords, but it's a mental powerlessness. It's a negative powerlessness. It's negativity. It's where the mindset says, I don't know what to do. I've got no power. I've got no power. I've got no autonomy. That's what the Eight of Swords is. It's mental and physical restraint, limitation. And some of you guys here, through this Two of Wands, it may be that you've had to park plans, you know. You've had to say, right, when you're parking something, you're putting on hold. Okay, so Eight of Swords, Ace of Wands. So this is about taking your power back with the Ace of Wands energy. The Page of Swords. You need to learn how to take your power back, I think. Because the Ace of Wands is all about having the power in your hands. All right? And the Page of Swords, if you look at him here, this is all about learning. So you were learning... The Page of Swords is all about knowledge. So we're learning a new way to take our power back because he's learning something new. So there's a new way that you can learn how to take the power back. In other words, you know, and I've said it on all of the readings, on all of the signs, that this thing that's happening in our world at the moment is really kind of teaching us how to live in a new way and how to be powerful in other ways. Okay? And also it's teaching us how we work together, how we are resourceful, you know? Because we're so used to doing things in a certain way. We've been so used to doing things in a certain way for a long time. It's all about tradition, right? But now the universe is saying, well, actually, you're going to have to find out how you can do things in another way. So, Leo, when we talked about some of you guys have had to park a few plans. You had some plans, but you've had to kind of put them on hold with that Two of Wands. Well, you can still move forward with them, but you just have to be a little bit more creative with how you do it. The Magician. Because you're not going to be able to do things in the way that you were planning to do them for probably some time. So the plans that we've parked, Leo, this week may be a good time to look at how you can still move ahead with these things, but just being a little bit more inventive. Remember, he's an inventor. Being a bit more inventive and a bit more creative and a bit more resourceful. Family. Ten of Cups to Six of Cups. Coming together with family members. Again, we need to be a bit more creative when it comes to that. Because obviously, whereas before we were able just to go around, you know, drive somewhere, go and see family, park the car up, whatever, you know, knock on the door, go in for Sunday lunch, whatever it is, family gatherings, picnics. The weather's picking up now, it's getting warmer. People go out as families, you know, to parks and stuff. Nobody can do that anymore. So in terms of family gatherings and connecting with family members, with the Ten of Cups and the Six of Cups, again, there is a need to be more creative and inventive. And what better way than using the Mercury Magician, the magician that represents technology. So there needs to be a focus on that as to connect with family. The other thing is that, especially if you've had to park plans with the Two of Wands, and some of you guys are kind of with the Eight of Swords energy feeling a little bit kind of frustrated by that, well, you need to kind of find out a way and how you can get people to support you in overcoming this, or at least find a way in which with the Six of Wands you can overcome this, okay, and transform this energy here. So how can you overcome the need, or because these two cards are really kind of feeding into this one. Of course, if you've had to park plans and you've had to put things on hold, of course with that Eight of Swords it's going to come with a sense of frustration and a feeling of powerlessness, especially powerlessness to initiate any changes. All right, so we're going to talk about that. We're going to say that what comes along with this having to park certain plans for some of you Leos, well, there's a sense of powerlessness here, powerless to initiate new things, because what you're trying to do, the whole point of, and it's funny because usually the Ace comes before the Two, but really the Ace should really follow the Two, because there you are kind of at that stage where you were planning things and they've had to be parked. So you're now saying to yourself, some of you guys, I'm feeling really frustrated by that. I'm feeling powerless now. I'm feeling powerless to initiate anything new in my life. all right? But the universe is saying that if you're feeling like that, Leo, now is the time to look at ways that you can overcome this energy here, all right? How can you overcome it and transform with the judgment energy these feelings and these thoughts of negativity, all right? These feelings and thoughts that you have, you lack the power of the Eight of Swords to initiate any changes now. Well, we do it by seeking more information. Because the Knight of Swords is seeking information with that page. So again, the whole reading is feeding into the ethos of that, and I keep saying it on a lot of the reading, it's talking about the need to be resourceful. So this is definitely a week where you need to focus on being resourceful, okay? You need to focus on what you have rather than what you don't have. All right, so you can't connect physically with a lot of your family, maybe, Leo. Well, you've got the internet, you've got technology that does that. Some of you guys have had to park plans. You've had to put plans on hold, Two of Wands. And there's a lot of frustration and a lot of feelings of doubt and powerlessness that to initiate anything right now, to take the power into your own hands. There's a lot of doubt that you actually have the power anymore, but you do. You just need to overcome this negativity by doing things in a different way with the judgment energy. It's about releasing the negativity by remaining confident and determined with the Six of Wands as well. If you're feeling powerless, that you have the power to initiate or invoke some form of a change, seek information on how you can get things started. But where there's a will, there's a way. You know, where there is a will, there is a way. Okay? So this week, the focus has to be on being creative and being resourceful with what you've got. Use what you have. Use the resources around you to affect the changes that you want. You may not be able to affect the changes towards, you know, fully 100% in the way that you wanted it to be, because we're on this lockdown right now. But every single little step that you take in terms of future goals, it gets you there. It's going to be smaller, it's going to be slower, but at least you're continuing moving. So just continue to move. It's as simple as that. Just continue to move. You may not be able to do things in the way that you've wanted to do them, you know. You may not be able to do things in the way that you were hoping to do them, but you can still do stuff. Where there is life, there is hope. Simple as that. Let's have a look at what the spiritual advice is in two cards. What's the spiritual advice? What's the spiritual advice? What spiritual advice do you have for Leo? What's the spiritual advice you have for Leo? Show me. It says you've got to go with the flow. So that's the Wheel of Fortune, that card there is. And yeah, there you go. And change your focus. Five of Cups, I think that is. Go with the flow and change your focus. And that's what I was saying. Now, the Wheel of Fortune is out of our control. So you've just got to go with it. You've just got to go with it because you don't have all of the control that you want. But the control that you do have is in terms of how you can change your focus, how you can adapt. Human beings are extraordinarily adaptable to change. So really, the Five of Cups, in a way, is saying, Five of Cups is a card about surrender. So not only do you surrender and adapt to the changes that are happening around us, you know, you also, with this Five of Cups energy, go with the flow and change your focus. Okay, so change your focus. So going with the flow is going to allow you to change your focus. Because some of us want to fight against the tide. This is why when the governments around the world are saying stay in your homes, there's a lot of people that are still going out of the home. Now, a lot of people have to go out because they've got to go to work. That is fair enough, I understand that. But for some of you that can work at home, or for some of you that are going to have to put plans on hold for certain things, it's being done because, yeah, maybe the governments have done it too late. Who knows? And I'm not here to be political. I'm not going to do that. But what I am saying is that, you know, we're in the situation that we're in. So at the end of the day, you have to just make the best of things. It's as simple as that. But what else can you do? We're in the situation that we're in. And sometimes we want to kind of fight against the tide. You know, some people want to fight against stuff. Instead of going with the flow, they want to fight it. And this is something that cannot be fought You can fight it on a personal level by washing your hands and by making sure that you're keeping, you know, social distancing and things like that. So on your own kind of front, you can fight this thing. Of course you can. But in terms of government and in terms of what we're being told that we can and can't do right now, we have very little choice but to adhere to the status quo. So in that, there is a need then to adapt the way that you think. All right, which means that with the wheel, we're just going to have to go with the tide. We're just going to have to go with the flow, and we're just going to have to kind of just go with whether it goes upstream or downstream. We just got to go in there and just go with it. And it's easy. It's going to be easier for you to adapt with what's going on if you change your focus. So if you can change your focus so that it's in line with going with the flow, it'll be easier. It's going to be an easier transition thing, you know, because for some of you guys, it's not easy. And I'm seeing that in a lot of the signs, it's not easy. Because we want our way of life back. Of course we do. But remember, even after this changes, things may not be the same for quite some time. So now it's time to go with the flow. Just try and kind of adapt, which is what going with the flow is, and changing your focus. All right, so changing your focus is all about that parked car there. Some of you guys have had to park your car. You've had to park your plans up. But it doesn't mean that you still can't move forward with them. But you're just going to have to be more inventive and more creative. That's what changing the focus is. You know? That's what changing the focus is. You can't be with close family at the moment. So connect with them via Mercury, via the internet, via technology. Go with the flow. It's the way that it is now. We just have to adapt to those things. There's a lot more for you guys to learn. Find ways that you can take your power back, you know? Things like that. Let people help you to transform from the Eight of Swords. Okay, there's all sorts of resources that are available still to us. We just need to tap into that. All right, Leo, that is your reading, the message for the week. I'd like to say thanks ever so much for joining me on Carol's Universe. Have a great week, guys, and please, please stay safe. Take care. Love you. Bye-bye.